new world.
Yeah.
You know, bringing it up because man, it's falling. You know, it's falling. Even just identity, people not the purpose. It's not lined up, so we could go in divinity back into the righteousness and the movement. So love can be in everyone and all over the world. You know, that would end the separation. That's how I look at it. You know.
Yeah, man. I think.
Yeah, man. You know, it's like they say, one day at a time. You know. But I know if we could all rise up to the divinity, it could happen overnight.
Yes.
You know, that's one of the faith I have, man. I believe in once we all cling on to it, it change. It's instant change. It's not a prolonged change, you know.
We do all have love. We just sometimes don't know how to access it, right?
Yeah, because I guess like I always say, we've been conditioned to operate on the outer. And we'll never get nowhere operating on the outer because we're inner beings. We have to harness the energy from within. That's the pure essence of the spirit taking over the flesh. Because on the outer is the flesh ruling the spirit. So you're not going to rise up because it's a lot of contradiction and the spirit won't get to manifest what it needs to because the flesh wants to be in control. This is why when I look at like political things and politicians, it's hard for them to see the spiritual side of it because they're trying to dictate of what man believe. And of course, the laws are dictated by the ones that was living before us that's dead. So when you look at these laws that's dead, how could it be ruling the living? It's going to be a conflict. We'll never have purpose. We'll never reach the true potential because we're under laws from dead people. And we're the living. How could the dead govern the living? It makes sense. It does not make sense. New laws have to be written all over by the living to govern us in the new society. Because we're living like in the 1800s or BC still, you know?
Yeah.
And we're so advanced today than we was yesterday.
Yeah, man.
So it's like, yeah, man. It's,
living in the material world, baby. Living in the material world.
Yeah. I love that. And that's what just attracted me to you because I'm just going through TikTok and I just saw a video calling all gods, and I'm like, can I talk to the gods out there? And I was like, ooh, like that just hit me. It just hit me. Yeah. And I'm like, because it says it in the Bible. It says it in all of the literature that you are the Word, become the Word of God.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, let us know what you mean by that, man, because I just love how
like, you know, again, you know, I just feel like words, okay, when we speak, we create. Because we have that creative, we're the Word. So the Word is what creates the life. So once you rectify that you're the spirit, I mean, even if you look in the dictionary, the word God, it's a spirit. You can't put a he or she or physics. You can't do a tangible thing to a spirit because now you're trying to control it. But spirit is free. You can't try to dictate a spirit. It's going to be confusion. So it's like you lining up in that divinity. You can't look at yourself as a man or a human being because you're so much more. When you look at a man, a woman, or a human being, it's limitation. They'll tell you they can't. It's impossible. But when you're the spirit, it's a limitation it's endless.
Limitless.
You could keep on going forever in that one word and keep building and building and building. There's nothing stopping it. There's no force. You're unlimited. You can't plateau. It's infinite. It could just keep going. It's endless. It's just like our spirit. You can't kill it. We'll always be here forever. No matter what they try to do, the bombs, the foods that they try to destroy, we can't be stopped. You could stop the flesh because it's corrupted. We took on to the flesh, so we became corrupted. But once we step out of that and come back in that spiritual divinity, we're uncorrupted. We become immortals because that's what life is. It's eternal. It's everlasting. There's no death in life. So why is the flesh going down? Because the flesh is ruling the spirit. The spirit is what sustains the outer. Without that spirit, we can't move. We can't think. We can't come up with thoughts. It's the consciousness in us. The blood can't beat. The blood won't pump because there's no spirit. You're hollow. You're empty.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're filled with the Spirit, you come back into life. And that life can supersede all of us into that oneness again. That's why I say God's, because again, that's who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the tangible, we're the intangible, we're the spirit. So if I'm gonna identify myself, I'm gonna identify myself with a spirit. I can't say I'm flesh, I can't say I'm blood, because it's not true. When that blood and flesh goes down, it's saying that I go down. No, I'm always living because I'm eternal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a spiritual being without end. You can't stop the consciousness because it's always gonna be here. Goes from body to body. You know, that's why I say calling all gods, because that's our true identity. You know, it's not, you know, how they got us thinking that we're American or white or black or Buddhist or Christian. It's like you're taking away from the identity. So it's like now it becomes confusing, because if a person don't know truly what they are, they're making, how can they perform?
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to figure it out. At least when I was born, that's what I was doing my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, trying to figure out who I'm really, because I know I wasn't Nicaldo, the birth name I was given. I couldn't be that.
Mm-hmm.
A human named me. How could I be that? How could that be who I am? How could I try to find definition in that name they gave me if they didn't understand who they was?
Mm-hmm.
So those was my thing, man. Like I wanted to know where I came from, what I am. And like I said, the more as I started to get older and start reading, and then just kind of looking around and seeing the word for what it is. And I'm like, I can't move myself from the spirit, because if the spirit is the creative force, I need to partner with this.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I'm going to get my purpose and identity. So I could be firm and know, because we are supposed to know. It's not a doubt that should be in our minds when we're doing things, because then it's going to be failure. We're doing things, but we're doubting if it's working or not. It ain't going to produce no fruit. But in the spirit, that will always produce fruit, and we'll be able to grow. And there will be untouched ourselves from the things that we think sustain us. You know, some of us think we got to work or we got to eat certain things to keep ourselves up. But the spirit, if we put our all in the source, we'll be connected. It's days, like I said, I'm a big person that there's sometimes I don't eat or I don't drink. Because I'm saying to myself, like when I start thinking, the spirit, how could a spirit eat or drink? So if you're a spirit, do I need to, because I'm only submitting myself to the flesh of how I was conditioned, that I need to eat, that I need to drink. So we keep doing these things, but these things is distracting us from the energy that we already harness, which is the spirit.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I don't know, y'all, when you talk, you don't feel like you're getting life. You feel like you could go a long time, like you don't feel tired. Because when you speak, it's life. And life beget more life. It doesn't drain you, you know? It's energy.
Yes.
Energy can't die. Energy don't get weak.
Yes.
We're light. So light is always bright. Light always shine, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's like more we connect, because come on, man. It's there for us to see, man. God is eternal. God is life. God is everything. So it's like, why wouldn't we want to harness ourselves to be everything? That's what we're called to be, gods. It didn't call us to be man. It didn't call us to be a race. It didn't call us to be that. It was called to be God. We're supposed to see ourselves in that divine image. So others, like mankind, I say humans that don't know, can see that spirit, because that's the problem we have today. They don't see that spirit. They don't see that divinity. So how could they say, oh, that's it? But the moment we become it, it's going to be easy to see in us. And then how could you deny the truth? You have to submit to the truth, because the truth was written a long time ago. Every mankind, every politician, they all know the truth. You can't deny it. You could speak of God, but how to operate in that divinity, they wasn't taught that. It wasn't conditioned, because you say you're God, you're blaspheming. Who do you think you are?
Yes.
You know, do something for me. It's always produce this. You're God.
Yeah.
So why is this happening? But if we become God, we could stop all that's happening. Because now there's no confusion. It's just movement, moving forward into elevating ourselves.
Yes.
That's worth, man. You look at everybody and say, wow, why would I want to hurt another God? It don't make sense. But if we all different, it's easy to say, I'm going to hurt him because he's not like me. I don't mind taking from him because he's not like me. You know what I'm with?
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
That's reaching right Christ consciousness. You're getting that.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. So if we see if it becomes one, because when you look at the earth too, you see many people, right?
Yeah.
But yet still, if we're supposed to be one people, we come from spirit, one source. Why are we so many people? It's supposed to be one people. So if all of us see ourselves in the same identity, that eliminate war automatically.
You're right.
There's no war in the spirit, man. The spirit don't want a war. That's destruction. The spirit wants to give. It wants to be enlightened. It wants to share. It don't want to take. Because when you look at this earth, it's God's world, which is our world. Everything is here for us. Why men sell, and who gives them that right, I'll say? Who gives them that right to take what's not theirs and put a price on it? It's all free, it's all in abundance. So that's why it's wrong. That becomes wrong. So how could you keep doing wrong and expect to get right? You might get away with it for a little bit, but at the end of the road, it's going to break down again. You know, I'm a person that I like history. I look at history from where it started. Yes, if anything was so good, why it never last? It all broke up and something new came. Anything new, it's going to get its goal, but eventually it's going to meet its plateau. You can't go no more. It's not sustainable. But when we in that true identity, that's sustainability. You're going to just grow. You can't break that down because now you're in accordance with the source of life. You know you're the life. You're not going to kill the life in you. You're going to keep on giving that life to people, whoever needs it. And you hoping they see it because you've seen it in yourself. So it's easy for you to see it in them. You can't look at them any less. Even though when you tell them something, they might say, but I'm not. We know it's not the truth. It's because they've been conditioned to think they're not. You know, just like you look at some verses, it says, we were shaped in iniquity. This is not true. But because of the wrongs and rights that people, you got to do this. We wasn't taught the right. We coming from doing wrong to get to right, and coming from understanding, trying to understand ourselves to be in that right light. There's no way, man. So that's why I said, in all my life, I think I've been everything on this earth. I just knew embracing the spirit and becoming that word. I knew I had changed now in my life. Because now it's like, I came from everything, and I said to myself, everybody talks about God. Everybody speak of the word, but it's like the shoes, you know, it's a spirit. A spirit needs a body. If you don't let the spirit, if you don't embody the spirit don't have a nose. It don't have a physical form. But once that word become a physical form, it's hard to say you can't see it no more. But a lot of people believe that they can't be that. Yeah. It was taught they're not that. You're blaspheming. It's a taboo word to be. Or you're trying to be like the he or whoever they put as an image as God. When you can't put an image as God because God is spirit. A spirit doesn't have an image. It lives in us. We're the image of that spirit. So it's easy to say a he or a she. You could say it's a female goddess, you know? It's a male God because the spirit is in that male. So that gave it a male, a character, you know, boy or girl. But the divine, it doesn't have an agenda. So that's why I say sometimes myself, like, you don't want to get caught in the gender neither, because if we're spirit, do we really have gender? Or we're the all, we're the source of all. So we perfect in that spirit, not attaching ourselves how men, oh, you're a boy, you got to do this. Oh, you're a girl, you got to do this. No, it's not like that. When you're a spirit, you should be able to do all things.
Yes.
You know, you're trapping a human being to become a human being, to become a man. That's why certain things, when they used to say we're a spiritual beings having a human experience, that made sense to me, because it's like, yeah, we've been pulled down to act and behave like humans and mankind when we're so much greater than that. So for us to rise up will change the course of history, in my book, because every man, woman, and child is waiting for this day, so we could be the light. Like, they're waiting patiently, but no one is bringing that energy or accepting it to say, I am. And I think that's where it starts. Just like how man has created anything, they say, I am. I will fight, or I am this tribe. They're proud in that. It's the same way I feel like I have to be proud in the spirit. Even though people might say, no, you're not. I can't let that bother me. I got to keep going, because they don't understand. They're trying to figure it out too. That's why I say it's for us to create a new world, because that's the power we have. We could keep on living like the past, or we could push on to the future things, the higher things that's in God. So we could abide in truth and be one people. Because that's the key too. We can't have that separation, because we're a unit. We need togetherness. This is how true happiness is, because if we're all together, no one is lonely. No one is suffering.
Yes.
But if we're divided, there will be many people suffering, because there's no support when you're divided. But if you have unity, no one will be down. All will be up. Because unity, it can't be a balance. It has to be equality. That's unity. It's an equality that we rise to as a standard. That's the importance, man,
You're touching on so many topics, and as you speak, it's like I'm relating everything that's happening nowadays, because we're so confused. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just so lost and confused with the gender, with the politics, with it's a little kid mentality. You know what I'm saying? They're not tapping into what you're saying, the spirit of it all, and it's almost like they're scared of it. They're terrified of it.
There's a saying that they say that they don't know, but it's when something is unknown, and you've been, like they say that if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yes, sir.
So all their life, they're taught to think a certain way. It's hard to start over again, because that's what you have to do. Like I always tell people, I'm like an 80-year-old baby, because I didn't grow into this till I was 30-something to say fully, I am a God. It didn't happen. It didn't grow years, probably 8-9 years. I'm an 8-9-year-old baby, but a long way to go to elevate. That's when I came into myself. So it's going to be growth after growth. You don't stay the same. It's just like when I used to say, looking at my parents that I used to call parents, because now I get tortured. Like I'm like the black sheep, because it's hard to say mommy when you outgrew that. I say you're my sister, because we all sisters and brothers. It's only one source. So how could I call you a mommy? Or I outgrew certain things, so it's kind of hard. So it's like you get that conflict now, because it's like you can't go back. You're trying to get to an understanding where you could flourish, and to go back, you're not gonna flourish. You're gonna be demised. And even if you, as a one that gets the enlightenment, you still will be demised, because that's not the goal, to be one. It's a army of us, and we all have to have it, because if we don't all have it, we all suffer. It's not just one or two, all has to have it. That is the abundance of God. No one is left out. No one. So it's like it's a plan that has to be worked out, and that's why I push, because I know we are the change. We are the righteousness of God, because it's not nowhere I go, brother. I try to make this light shine. And since that, it's bring a lot of conversation, because like I said, I was the type of individual speak when spoken to, because if you can't speak what you want to speak, and or it's going to cause conflict, it don't make no sense you say anything, because you don't want to laugh and play. It's not the joke. Life is serious.
Yeah.
You want everyone to be straight. You want everyone to have the abundance. We don't want to be working or slaves or labor. This is not our life. We're in it to work. We put things in motion so we could build that fruitfulness. That is so important for our survival and our future. It's going to just keep on repeating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every time I see a graveyard, I'm like, damn, the earth wasn't created for that. No one was supposed to go in the grave. This is like, how could someone accept this?
Mm-hmm.
Who would want to be born to know you're going to lay down and rest someday, or unsure when that day will come? You think life is supposed to be like that? No. Life is something you're sure about. Life is a joy that just keeps on going without end. Life is beautiful. How could you want to end it? You know, how could you want to not enjoy it?
Yeah.
You know, the way to like,
to
accept that, it's like, no, that's not life.
Yeah.
I didn't come here to die. I came here to live. Nobody comes here to die. We come to live. So why am I trying to plan for my death? Why am I trying to get certain things? What is I'm following the plan of a man to lead to destruction because of their lack of understanding? I'm sacrificing myself following someone that's killing themselves. I don't choose that road. You know, that's what I always say. If I'm gonna die, I'd rather die by my hands.
Yeah.
I can live with that. You know.
Yeah.
I'll feel good going down, dying by my hands, but not by these rules of the dead. No, they're already dead.
They're already dead.
God is not with the dead. God is with the living. The spirit has to work.
Mm-hmm.
The spirit can't work without the flesh. So when the flesh recognizes the spirit in them, the work is going to get done. And that's an unstoppable thing when we get to that level. When that spirit realizes they're not the flesh, they're the spirit. We have goals. We have a plan. We have a final destination, a rest that is paradise, man. Literally paradise.
Yes.
Lacking nothing. Not has to go up and don't have no time. You have time. Because all is there for you. The abundance is there. There's nothing else.
Hey, KGA, can I ask you a question, man? Can I ask you a question? You brought up some great points. I really appreciate you sharing. Thank you so much, brother.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about your thoughts about like the sentientness or whatever the word is, like plants, like, and I'm also curious about what kind of foods you eat. Like, me personally, I'm a vegetarian.
Vegetarian, okay.
I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are on food and like the spirituality surrounding food.
Now again, I was a conditioned person coming into this world. So of course I was fed what they thought was right. As I grew and appreciation for life, it was kind of hard for me to eat flesh anymore. I couldn't take the life of an animal to satisfy. Why should I take the life of another to satisfy myself? And then I'm not really satisfying my spirit, but I'm satisfying my flesh. Does the flesh need satisfaction? No. But knowing that I'm a living being, fruits are living, plants are living. Mm-hmm. These are the things that we should be eating, but then again, it's the higher vibration. We shouldn't need food to live because we're life itself. So that's another level that we got to get to.
Yeah.
But for the time being, it's fruits. These are living. But again, these things get rotten. So you got to eat it as they fall. So you know you're not hurting that because it grows, it bears, it drops, it goes away. But we could eat that because that has life. That's the right food we're supposed to put in our bodies. Something that's living. We're living beings. We can't eat what's dead. We can't eat what's processed. Not to say you cannot eat it and overcome, but to live your life on dead food, you're basically slowing yourself down. You're literally sucking the life out of yourself. Yeah. Instead of putting life in, you're kind of taking the whole life, and it's like The water in your body, you're drying it up with the dry food. Because food is supposed to have liquid, moisture, water. We're water. We're liquid people. So if you're eating food that's cooked or dried, no nourishment, you're actually drying up yourself in the long run. You know, so that's my take, man. Living foods, you know, living foods for living people.
Yes.
You know, that's the source again, you know, but again, you know, deep down, we're supposed to elevate beyond that because the spirit is life itself. And the more we come back into that, we won't need water. We won't need to eat. I don't know if any one of y'all ever fast before or just drink just liquid.
Oh yes, I did 8 days of just water. Just water.
8 days of water. 8 days of water. No, I always look at things since I've been getting to the last 2 years, you know, because like I said, I'm trying to elevate to a level where I'm self-sustainable without the need of something outside of myself. 100%. I notice, again, when we eat, what do? We waste, right? Does that feel natural? But if you don't eat, there's no waste.
Yeah.
No waste.
It's crazy, yes. The feeling.
So why we wasting? Because we polluted ourselves, and it has to come out. Because if it wasn't pollution, it would be able to stay inside. It wouldn't need to come out. You know, so I even like when you dry fast too, the body has so much water in there, even though you're not drinking, you pee. But when you stop eating, or if you just drink water only, you don't waste, but you pee. That's what I see, you know. So it's like, cause I'm at the point, it's a choice to eat. It's okay. I'm around my family, they're eating something, just to be a part of that, I'll eat. But if I'm by myself, food is not something I go for. I get thirsty, I'll more drink than eat. It's if I want it now. Before I had to, you know, like there, you want something to eat. You want this, but it's a choice now. As the more I'm tapping into myself, it becomes a choice to eat. To drink, I'm not at the point where I could.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah? I'd like to hear what Daniela has to say about this because she's eating for longevity. She's been a guest on our show before, Daniela, and Ageless and Joyous. I'd like to hear from you, Daniela. What do you think? I'm sure you're in agreement.
Yes. I very much relate to the vibration food, like the fruits, and the tree giving up the fruit when it falls down. Franco was just talking about it, I think last week. Basically, the way that we were functioning about 15,000 years ago was a lot of what this, I don't know what his name is besides King God Almighty.
Yes, my God King, yeah.
It's a belief system. There's all these belief systems that was put into us to think that we need to eat, that we can make energy from the sun and from the air and with our minds because we are, you know, source. So when you're talking about being like source, then and you're clear on that, you know, you're coming back to that level. So you know, in when you're talking about like old scripture, so in the Old Testament it talks about 2 trees, right, in paradise, right? And so one tree is the tree of life, and the other tree is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's that tree is the paradigm of polarity. That's the tree that you describe. That's the way of seeing that you were describing when people are discriminating, right? Where people think that God is something outside of ourselves, or maybe it has a gender or whatever, and there's black people, white people, all that. That's the tree of polarity, of hierarchy, of saying deserving punishment, and at best God is a father, you know, at best. Other than he's a master and we're servants. So that's the polarity of good and bad, right? It's not the full spectrum source. And then the tree of life is the unconditional love relationship. It's the unity consciousness, and bypass all these things that we believe are like cause and effect, you know, like gravity and all that stuff, right? It just bypasses the whole thing. And so that's what who we really are. That's where we're going now. So what happened was, what Franco explains is, well, his soul was part of some stuff that happened here 15,000 years ago, as an experiment of us being a combination of many different living beings from different planets put together to be this incredible being that can do so much, and it is connected to all these different civilizations. Like, it's just like, wow, you know. And we were like in 3D, real organic 3D, and the whole earth was able to go to 9D at that time. That's how it was tuned. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the body at that time. It's just 10,000 years ago, two civilizations, hybrids, came in and offered us this experiment with a program of limiting ourselves. And that looks to me like the fall, right? When we take the paradigm of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And so we basically got an ego that was programmed for separation. And so, and so making all these divisions and all these needs that we have, right? These dependencies. And so it's been going on for 10,000 years. It looks like processed foods, and it looks like pharmaceuticals. It looks like GMOs. It looks like whoever's behind that is really still playing that program, reinforcing the program. And so many things that we believe are like what our bodies need are really just a program. So, and adaptation. So we have adapted to eating meat, and we have adapted, the body will adapt to eating processed food, but it takes a lot of effort. Like you're saying, like, why? Like, why would you want to do that to yourself, right? So if you can do the fruits, it's really high vibration. I'm eating way more fruits right now, and vegetables. I'm not eating meat, but I still feel like I need a little fish here and there, like, because I'm transitioning, like what my body can do, you know, but because I don't do well with beans or whatever, like, so some protein somewhere. But, and I fasted before, but you have to like see where you're at, like ask, like stay. I think you have to be very in touch with day to day. Like, there's no one diet for everybody, and it depends on the timing and depends on your consciousness. So you just keep checking in and see, you know, see what the results are, see what you're drawn to. Like, is it really me who wants this, or is it the program that wants it? You know, like, start to differentiate between the ego programming. It's so much easier now, like with all that's going on today. Like, we're getting all this support, all these amazing frequencies, and people are waking up, and our bodies are starting to go back to the way that we were designed. So we were designed with 12 strands DNA, 12 DNA strands. 10 of them were turned off 10,000 years ago, and they're getting turned on again. And so we're going from like carbon-based through silicate to crystalline-based, which is, we're going to, like, our DNA is like a receiver transmitter of energy. We're really beings of light and energy, and so we're going more towards that. So the needs of our food are going to be much more the way that you're talking about, and eventually more people like you and hopefully everybody will understand that we don't need to eat at all, and that if we do eat some fruit, it's like a communication. It's like a making love with that fruit. It's like getting some information, getting, you know, it's some kind of an experience, but it's not because we need to sustain ourselves.
Correct. No, it's real. It's true. Very true. Because, you know, even when you say, like, you know, when you look at the fruits and the vegetables, if you out in the field working, of course, you're burning a lot of energy. So sometimes biting in a fruit, it's an energy right off its back that fulfills you, but not to just eat to where you're eating, you know, but it's just an energy boost. You'll get that fruit and get that water, get that liquid one time, and quench the thirst or quench the dehydrate or get the energy. You're good to go again. But
how long have you been transitioning to not eating much and eating more fruits?
Well, I mean, I transitioned at the age of 21. I'm 42 now. So I've been coming into myself from 21. And like I said, 35 is when I actually took it to the next level. And then 2 years ago now, I took it to the next level where I go without eating or drinking.
Right.
Because again, there's a spirit inside of me. It drives me, man. It was driving me since I was a child. And it's like certain things I wouldn't wanted to speak to people, I was always shunned. And then I say, maybe if I go amongst the religious, because they like to talk, I used to say they like to talk about God. So I would love to talk to them about God and just talk about the word. But then it became a doctrine program that they wanted me to follow.
Yeah.
I was supposed to bow to their created God. And I'm like, what happened to the one inside of me? Why should I invite somebody else?
Yeah, that's
I'm
the
okay
controlling.
with the one I have, you know? Why I need something else?
That's the controlling.
So it was
That's what came 10,000 years ago. That was leveraging to control us with fear, with all these things.
Correct.
In the name of God. So like, there's truth in all the religions because we are
absolutely
we're all that spirit that you're talking about. So we have an awareness, and that seeps in there.
Absolutely.
But it's also being used to control people. So there's a lot, like it's a mixture of stuff. It's not, you know, and people get they get caught in that, right? So
correct.
Yes,
it's a tug of war.
Yeah, I was religious for like over 30 years because all I wanted was a direct relationship with God, right?
Of course, you want to be
so
the best version of yourself, like the brother always talks about, you know.
Yeah.
You want to be the best version, of course. And every day you want to surpass that level because you know it's in you to be of a high standard. The people you're around, sometimes when you express yourself to them, it's like they're more attracted to the wrong or the negative. When you talk to them in a positive light, it's like, what's going on? You know, it's like, they can't see a perfect world, you know?
It's
like
in.
I always say,
It's built in with it's the programming. So what we need to do is help people free themselves of the program, you know?
Yeah, correct, man.
It's a very powerful cluster, you know, like the more people
it is,
do
because you have a lot of people in that wheel. You have a lot of people that they're going to keep that wheel going.
Yeah.
That's why I always said the change will never come from the elders because they're already stuck in their way. But the change is going to come from the younger because they want change. That's why I love to see newborns, because that's another inspiration. You know, you take away that, you're taking away inspiration. You're taking away life. It has to be new life coming because that's the energy. Because the ones before, they're stuck. They're not trying to change. You talk to them about something, they'll put up a fight. So it's like
for the lie. They will die for the lie. They will die for the lie. Like for real. So you need to get away from them. You got to get away because you got to love them from afar because that's going to affect your energy. It'll take you down. You know what I mean? Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Y'all need your own podcast. You need to get your own podcast. This is amazing.
Can I ask you, what do you mean? What's the age when you say elders? What age is that?
For me,
elders could, to me, an elder is anyone that's wise. Like you be beyond an age and you figure, damn, you've been here a while. You live like when you're 50. I think you should be of a certain awareness.
The old soul.
That like, wow, you're old. You've been around. You should know, like, damn, we need to be pushing on to change, not trying to repeat the same cycle. Because I feel like I just born yesterday. So it's like, damn, this cycle been going on so long. I don't want to repeat this. It's like sometimes you say to yourself, I've done this already. I can't do this again.
Come on, man.
I gotta do something different.
Come on, man. I know y'all feel this. Come on, man. Yes. That's exactly what it is. Come on. Damn, man.
It's like you're not living.
You have to feel this.
Yes, it is, man. It's an energy again. When you living and every day is the choice, it's making progress. You're satisfied in your spirit. You're content, and I think that's the place we want to be satisfied spiritually. Because again, working, like I said, I've been in the world, so I know. When I used to do things in the flesh, spirit felt it, man. Because when you go home and lay down, you're like, what's the purpose of what you just did? What's the meaning? What can you get any life out of what you just did? or it's the same thing everybody's doing, then it's like you're not really living, you're stifling yourself. You want to live, you know, at least for me, I want to live, man. I don't want to experience certain things that are old creation experience. I feel like we're so much more wiser than to take it to another level, man. I'm a person that's coming from reading, so when I see somebody say they live 960, I want to surpass that. Because again, I believe in words. Words is what create life. If you write it, it can become. You shouldn't doubt something that's written because you give the words faith. You give the word faith. It's up to you to make that word become a reality, because there's nothing limited on this world. Everything is possible. But it's just how we perceive it and walk into it.
And so when you're saying that, you know, we need them like the newborn and the young people, but just to be aware, like when you have all this insight, right? The power, like you're saying, of the word and also of your imagination. Like it's one of you is against 1,000 of the people that are not awake. So
correct.
Like you say, no limitation. You know, like let's just imagine the world that we want to see like it is right now. You know,
yes,
see, without limitation, all that is possible.
Correct. And like I said, that's the energy I harness when I walk, because like I said, I'm a person, man, because I know we're royalty. I wear a crown everywhere I go. And to believe it or not, these people that mesmerize, like, wow, what do you mean by this? It's conversation based, but I believe in the divinity because we're royal, man. It's like when I look at the generation that, you know, they trying to build wealth or build something for their seeds. And to me, I say, why would you want to do something over when you need to be focused on what's going to be sustainable? Because all you're doing is sowing the same thing you just reaped into your child's life instead of giving them the future of the real wealth, the spiritual wealth. That's something that you don't have to go working for, because that's something you get from the land, you get from the trees, you get from the plants you grow. All of these things is abundance. Clothes, how we're just in bondage with the buying and the selling. Like, it's distraction, man. You know, you see people create jobs. Are we supposed to be doing the jobs that we're doing? Is it really has a purpose? Does it has meaning? No, but the meaning of life, to go after rising ourselves up back into that identity, that's going to give life to a whole new world and birth a whole new society that can thrive, man. Not just survive, but thrive and flourish and become independent and become one, you know. But again, you know, as I say, elders, from you at the age where you know and doing things, and you know, like I always say, you know, once you know what's right, it's hard to do the wrong. You know better, so you're going to do what's right. And sometimes when a person is not ready to do what's right, they're not really an elder, they're still young. Because again, when you want to do right, you mature, you grow. This is why I look at little children. Sometimes they're wise before their age. They understand, and they want it, but it's not enough elders giving it to them. Yeah. So they could see it, because it's their conditioning ways that these kids are seeing, but they're fighting in a different way and rebelling. But they're not getting the truth. You know, that's what I see, you know. But there's children that they gravitate, they want it, you know. Even with me starting my message, I get a lot of people reach out because it's something that they could associate with. They understand, you know, because some people, you know, before you speak, you already know what you're going to say. So it didn't come from outside. It came from within you. You talk to yourself, you reason with yourself, you know, ever since you're young, because sometimes you can't share things with people because you're worried how they're going to judge you. You know, you worrying if it's the right things to say to them, unless they're open and want to conversate and build. But some people are stuck in their way. You all you could do is talk to yourself, because you're yourself is the greatest comforter. You're yourself is the biggest person that can empower you. That cannot come from outside of you. You're already empowered, whether you see it or not. You don't need anything because it's already in you. It's whether you want to be firm in it and accept it and go with it, and don't need oh, is it right? Or because I look at this generation, it's like, even though they might know something, they still want to hear more. And then they stop from trying because they're trying to look for that validation if it's right or wrong. And they'll go through their whole years and say they'll never try something because they've been just listening and not living. Because we all has a gift. We don't all have the same gift, but we all have a gift to make the puzzle come together. But some of us don't want to give that gift that we really know. Like, we all have something that we know more than the other because you're born with that. That was given to you. That understanding, you have it. And you could lead a multitude with that understanding. Everyone has that.
You gotta unlock
but
it.
You live in a
Everybody
world.
has their way of doing it. You just gotta unlock that energy. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And like people talking about diet, that's very important. And having a living, you know what I'm saying, nutrient dense diet, that's how you connect to God. If you don't have that, then you it's like you're not getting the Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? It's not connected.
Yeah, correct.
You don't feel it.
It's not connected.
So all this just connects. All this just, it always just comes back together, man. And I mean, we could keep going on for hours, dude. Like, I know we could keep going on for hours. I just wanted to open up the floor for anybody. If anybody has any questions, you know what I'm saying, for the king, for real, like, jump on, show some love, any comments or whatever. And I mean, we'll shut it out here in like the next 10 minutes. So, you know, everybody do their thing. Time is money. So, but I mean, I appreciate you coming on, my brother. I really do. This is
no problem, man.
Thank you so
God
much,
willing, man.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your presence in the group. Thank you. Come back.
Thank you all for having me. You know,
always welcome in our group every week.
Thank you all, man. Thank you all. I always say this is the beginning of the greatest conversation that was left last for all of us to have. And that's how I look at it, man.
I love that.
It's the round table that we always say we want to be. All of us need to be around the table because we all want a reason. We all want to get to that level of understanding. And that's all it is. When I look at politicians doing their thing, they're driven by the thing they're trying to do. It's just like us spiritually, we're driven by the things we want to do. And the more we start forming this fire that's going to be burning and blazing, because it's going to consume the world. It's going to go to the four corners. It's written this way. So we know the truth is going to prevail. There's no way what was written way before we was flesh is not going to come to pass. Because all we're doing is fulfilling the words that was written about us. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. We're filling the shoes that was written. We're finishing the story. It's a story that became reality. That's all it is.
Beautiful, man.
But man, I thank you all for having me, man. I really appreciate it. You know, to get the message out there, you know, because that's my mission, man. Reaching mankind with the word of God, man. That's it.
Man. I love
it, man.
I can feel I can feel it through the screen, man. I love it.
That's it.
We
brother.
definitely gotta have you back on, man. You gotta come back on.
Brother.
Yes,
absolutely,
man. And that's a mic drop, really, man. That's good night, goodbye. I love that. I love that, man. We will leave it like that. Yes, so, man, we'll be talking, man. We'll be talking and communicating.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
For real, yeah.
Absolutely, sisters, brothers. It was great connecting with you all, and I look forward, man. You know.
All right, man.
I look forward, man. And like I said, I'm already know where the podcast is happening. I will always be dropping in.
Yeah, let's do it.
No, because like I said, while I'm driving down the road, I could have it going. You know what I mean?
Where you
might can't interact sometimes. I might can't interact sometimes, but I'll be going down the road listening now, brother.
Where are you at right now?
Yeah.
Huh?
Where are you at right now?
Right now, I'm in Prescott, Arkansas.
All right.
Heading to Dallas, Texas. I came out of Pennsylvania, so I'm going to Dallas, and then from Dallas, I'm heading back to Florida.
All right.
So it's always nice getting back home, you know, to the sunshiny state.
Yeah, man. All right.
Yes, brothers. Yes, sisters.
Bravo, bro.
What's up, man? All right, I'm out, man. Good night, y'all. Y'all can chill. I'm gonna head out.
Bless y'all all. Bless y'all all.
Thank you all. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time, next Thursday at 4. Bye.
Thank you, guys. That was awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Bless you. Gods, goddesses, over and out.